All right, guys, time for Snap Count Monday on a Tuesday. That's what happens when you play Monday night. You don't get the snap count charts out until the next day, and nobody really wants to talk about snap counts after a game that, well, it's the high point of the season almost certainly, like I said. We may not get another game this year as compelling and as fun, as competitive, and as ultimately satisfying as that one was. But it's the next day, we're turning the page, and we're going to break down that game by its smaller pieces rather than just the big picture. And the big picture, of course, being that we won. Certain players looked really good, certain players looked better than we expected, some things need work, etc., etc. Let's start with the snap counts to get an idea of who actually got to play and how much they got to play yesterday. And there are some interesting findings in the snap count charts. So, you guys know how we do things around here by now. I've been doing this for a while on this channel, so this doesn't really need to be introduced. But basically, we look at how many snaps the team had. Last night we had 55 snaps on offense. 55. So, who got the big shares of the snaps of that 55? Starting with the running backs, Rashad Penny obviously got the most. He got twice as many snaps as the next most significant running back. And nobody else really did that much. He got 38 snaps, which is about 69. Nice, 69% of the total snaps. Homer got 19, or about 35%. And that's about what you would expect, right? Travis Homer, best blocker, best third down back on the team. Didn't ever really get an opportunity to make stuff happen with the ball in his hands, which disappointed me a little bit, but it'll come. Penny didn't have a monster game either, but he played well, he played effectively, and I do believe that Penny showed that as the season grinds on, maybe we get Damian Lewis back, he is going to have that big year. I don't know how we're going to integrate Ken Walker in because he is a rookie, and you don't necessarily want him to be your third down back because of the blocking stuff that Homer is so good at. We're going to pretend that third and two play on the first drive didn't happen because we scored a touchdown anyway. We are in agreement, right? That play did not happen for Travis Homer, only for everybody else. But you would assume that the Walker touches would come at the expense of Penny and probably take away pretty much all of DJ Dallas. You can see he got 3, so a relatively insignificant amount that'll probably disappear completely for the moment. But you got to figure a lot of the Walker snaps are going to come out of Penny's share. But regardless, it's a good problem to have. So I think that going into this game, you would have expected splits kind of like this. Wide receivers, some interesting stuff here. First of all, you can see how many snaps we don't have 2 wide receivers out there. On some snaps, we don't have any. Quite a few. Metcalf led the team with 45 snaps as a receiver. That means 10 snaps he was out of the game. Only played about 82% of the snaps. Lockett, 44 snaps. 80%. So that is a non-trivial number of plays where you are playing a bunch of different tight ends. That is a non-trivial number of plays where you're basically going jumbo. And we saw some of that last year, but through one game, you got to say it's more significant this year. The other interesting thing here is that, yeah, Marquise Goodwin gets 28 snaps, and I think he played pretty well. I like Marquise, good player. Dwayne Eskridge gets 5. 5. I don't know if he doesn't know the playbook. I don't know if he's not physically ready. I don't know what it is. But I'm not seeing much of a interest in utilizing him. And he does things that nobody else on this roster can do as well in terms of the fly sweep and jet sweep stuff. So the fact that he's only out there 5 snaps out of 55, not even 10%, gotta leave you scratching your head a little bit. Obviously, we didn't play a ton of receivers in this game. That's part of it. But as of now, Goodwin is clearly, despite missing the entire preseason, despite missing weeks and weeks of training camp, is clearly ahead of Eskridge on the depth chart at receiver, apparently. That's interesting. I wonder if that's going to hold. I wonder what that says about Eskridge. I don't like that part of it, but like I said, Goodwin played good. So if he's going to be the third best receiver on this team, then get him out there and let him be that. Finally, tight ends, and this is also actually surprising to me. I didn't notice this during the game, but Will Dissly played more than Noah Fant. Will Dissly had 37 snaps, Fant only had 31. And the reasons why kind of make sense because Dissly's a better blocker, so he's out there over 2/3 of the snaps. Fant is more of a pure pass catcher, he's out there for a little more than half. But it's still surprising. You would have expected Fant to still play more snaps overall. I think that when you also consider the game plan where we ended up throwing the ball quite a bit, it's a little surprising. Maybe we wanted to protect our rookie tackles, so we wanted to have Dissly in the game a lot to protect them. They both played fairly well, I think, but maybe we just wanted Dissly out there to help him out, and we felt like Fant wasn't going to be able to be very good at that. That would be my guess. And Parkinson, 20 snaps. I don't know if he's had 20 snaps in a game other than the games where somebody ahead of him was hurt in previous years. So significant part of this offense, over a third of the snaps. So good for Colby. He's getting involved. And now we go over to the defense. Defense, there were 66 total snaps. A good chunk, more than the offense, but not a critically high amount. 66 snaps in a 60-minute game, workable, reasonable. You want the offense to sustain their drives a little bit better in the second half so the defense doesn't have to keep going back out there, but we had much worse last year, I feel like, especially in some of those early games. Defensive line, snap splits. We got Poona Ford with 31, so a little less than half. Al Woods, who I thought played really well, only 21 snaps. So, seems to me that's a formula to commit to. Don't play Al Woods a lot, and he'll give you a lot on the snaps that he does get in there. Played less than a third of the snaps against the Broncos, but several times I noticed him making a big impact on the play. He had a big impact on the second fumble. He had a big impact on one of the tackles for no gain on a play that looked like it was going to be a big carry, and then all of a sudden Al Woods just shows up. So, great stuff from Al Woods. Hopefully we can keep that balance to where he doesn't have to play 50 snaps a game. He can come in and give you everything he has on a handful of snaps a game. Getting a little left out was Monet. 9 snaps, not even 15%. Kind of an interesting utilization of him. Monet is a guy who's played very, very well at points in his career, but they've been few and far between, mostly because injuries have really kind of held him back. And he's obviously part of this team's future plans. So I wonder if against a team like the Niners, who are going to run the ball probably more than the Broncos did, if you see more Monet, because he is our biggest defensive lineman. Possibly. That would be my guess. But interesting to see him not really get on the field that much right after he gets that big extension. Shelby Harris played most of the game, over 2/3, 45 snaps, and he played a good game. Quentin Jefferson. We're going to talk about this later this week, but some sources claim that Quentin Jefferson had 5 quarterback pressures in this game. No sacks, no QB hits, but he was disruptive back there, and for a guy we signed at a not particularly expensive cost, pretty good. About 60% of the snaps, 39 total. Quentin Jefferson, making things happen back there, might end up paying dividends on that contract. I wasn't sure about him when we brought him in because it was a new defense and I didn't know how he was going to do in a 3-4 or hybrid. Honestly, last night I saw a lot of 3-4 type stuff, so it seems like that's going to be our base defense. But he played a lot, and he played well as near as I can tell, so the pass rush overall was not great, but I think the individual pieces on this defense did actually show up in ways that didn't necessarily directly impacted the play, but indirectly did. Okay, edge rushers, the rotation on the edge, or rather the lack of, because there wasn't much of a rotation. Darrell Taylor had 54 snaps, so he played over 81, almost 82% of the snaps. That's a lot for an edge rusher. Nwosu, more, almost 90%. We can deal with that right now, but as the season goes on, hopefully we can get a little bit better of a rotation going. Losing Alton Robinson hurts badly. We probably got to get somebody who can spell these guys a little more often. Mafe got 19 snaps, not a big sample size, less than 30% of the snaps. He didn't particularly stand out. Honestly, Nwosu was the standout at the edge rushers. Nwosu played awesome. Taylor, I think he did good as a pass rusher, but he's not playing the run well, so it's a mixed bag with him. And Maffei, I didn't notice anything big from him really, but look, I've said it before, I've said it again. He is a raw player. He's got a lot to learn. So I'm not surprised by that, and I'm not discouraged by that at all. I love Maffei. I think he will be great. But we need to get a little bit of a deeper rotation there, I think, because these guys are going to wear out if they're playing 80 to 90% of the snaps all year. Inside linebacker is pretty easy. Jordan Brooks played 66 snaps out of 66, all of them, which we expected. Brooks will probably play every snap this year on defense unless he gets hurt. Cody Barton, not far behind. He played all but 4 snaps, and I think the 4 he missed were because he was hurt at the end of the game. So 62. He may have missed 1 or 2 other snaps because of the formation, but mostly it was because of the injury at the end of the game. So not unexpected. And Cody Barton played well, by the way. Nothing for Ballore. He did not play on defense, just the 1 snap on offense and special teams. Pretty straightforward there. Cornerback. So basically it was like this. Michael Jackson played the whole game, every snap, and held up pretty well. Woolen was going to play the whole game, and he played fairly well too. Some bad stuff, but some good stuff as well. He got hurt at one point, came out. Sidney Jones went in, clearly did not look ready, and quickly, after 12 snaps, left the game for Woolen. So basically, Jackson and Woolen are your guys. Sidney Jones came in a little bit for an injury replacement, and that's all there is to say there. Kobe Bryant played 2 snaps, which I didn't realize during the game. So he played 2 snaps, got burned for a 67-yard touchdown that he completely misplayed, and sat down. I think Kobe's going to learn from it. I think it's going to be a good experience for him. I'm not hating on Kobe. It is what it is. Welcome to the NFL. Rookies have that moment. But how amazing is it that Kobe Bryant's the guy who wasn't quite ready for week 1, and Tariq Woolen is? Who saw that one? Who had that on their bingo card? I did not. So, wow. Because of Kobe not playing very much, Justin Coleman played a ton, 51 snaps. You can't say that he got completely destroyed, because at the end of the day, you only gave up 16 points. You did give up yards, but you ended up stiffening up in the red zone. He doesn't look like he has that much left to me. I'm really hoping that Trey Brown can get back after the first 4 games, because I think Trey Brown's going to be a much better player at nickel for us right now than Coleman is. Ryan Neal got out there for 2 snaps. I'm not sure which ones, but I'm assuming it happened very late in the game when we were doing some 3 safety sets. So not a big pile onto Ryan Neal's plate in this game, just 2. Safety, yeah. So Quandre Diggs played the whole game, as he always does. Played a decent game. Left a couple plays out there, but played fine. Jamal Adams plays 15 plays, and those are the only 15 plays he's going to play this season for us, unfortunately. It's tragic. It is what it is. I believe Jamal was headed towards a big season. I do. I think he was going to play really well for us. I think you saw some of the playmaking ability before he got hurt, but it's over now. Now we got Josh Jones, and Josh Jones actually played a little bit at third safety before Jamal got hurt. You can see the 2 extra snaps. Then he played the rest of the game, and I think he played well. Over 80% of the snaps, he did his thing. So I'm kind of excited to see what Josh Jones can do now. The Jamal thing, it's done for the year, but I like Josh Jones. So as sad as I am about the Jamal stuff, I want to see what Josh can do. And Joey Blunt did not play on defense, no snaps. And that's your week 1 snap counts for the Seahawks. Some surprises, some stuff not so surprising. At the end of the day, I think the main takeaway from this is, how are we going to divvy up carries with the backfield, with the running backs when Walker's back? What's going to happen with Eskridge? Is Disley going to play the most snaps at tight end all season? And I think the biggest concern point has to be getting a better rotation going on the edge, so these guys aren't playing such a huge percentage of snaps. All right, I will see you guys later tonight, probably on Twitch. Soul Hackers going to be streaming with the Hawk's Nest on his channel tonight. Hope to see you there. Go Hawks, and 1-0, baby. That 1-0 feeling.